and welcome to the Growth Advantage podcast. My guest today is Hugh Viney, founder and CEO of the UK's fastest growing online school, Minerva Virtual Academy. Hi Hugh, it's great to have you on the show. Where are you joining me from today?
Hi Rebecca, it is great to be here. I am in Brixton. I'm high up in an amazing building in Brixton, South London, 3-space international house, and you've got great views of the entire of London around us through our windows.
Amazing.
Because there's not many tall buildings near us, so we've got this amazing vista plus a rooftop with a whole 360 on the 14th floor. So yeah,
Oh, wow.
That's our office.
Sounds fantastic. I'd love to start by asking you, if it's okay, Hugh, to tell us a bit about your business and your role within it.
Yeah, sure. So I'm the founder and CEO of Minerva Virtual Academy. We're an online secondary school operating the sort of British English national curriculum. Kids come to us to study GCSEs and A levels. What makes us special is we founded about 4.5 years ago. We launched with roughly 4 students at the school in year 9 and 10. And fast forward to now, we've just hit 1,300 students full time at the school across year 7 to year 13. So a fully fledged secondary school with a principal and 2 vice principals and heads of year, heads of department, everything you'd imagine from a good school, lovely academics, good pastoral care, enrichment programs, except the difference is, for your listeners, lots of our school, most of it is online, particularly the learning element, and that is suitable for certain types of kids. So our model brings out the best in certain types of kids that do not suit mainstream traditional school. And those kids could be a number of types of kids.
Totally understand and can relate to that, having a son who's also experienced online schooling.
Yeah, of course.
What was the moment that made you realise that traditional education needed disruption?
Now, I launched MVA in 2021 at the start of the year, January 2021 officially. But before that, I'd been running a tutoring business called Minerva Tutors since 2014, and we launched as a tutoring traditional tutoring business. Offering like GCSE after school tutoring 1-on-1. We'd send tutors into people's homes. A-level tuition, 11 plus, the kind of classic, what you'd expect from a tutoring business in the UK. But from about 2016 onwards, we were getting more and more requests for homeschooling. More and more families were coming to my tutoring business saying, we have left school, we want to homeschool.
Right.
And it was for the same reasons people want to come to my online school now. And that is some children, but a significant minority, so let's say 20 to 30%, if we're being generous, to mainstream, don't suit school at best, doesn't suit how they learn. That's at best. At worst, school makes them ill. And somewhere in between, school makes them sad. And so we were seeing more and more of those kids coming to us through the tutoring business to get homeschooling. So I've been seeing this coming since 2015, 2016. I've seen this growth in homeschooling firsthand and the reasons why. Kids out there, many kids need something different. They need something different to the norm because the norm has been the same for 200 years. So I've been seeing it firsthand for the best part of a decade before I launched MVA, my online school, to cater to the needs of those children en masse.
I can totally relate to that, both in the angle of being a teacher myself previously and having a child who went through online education for a couple of years because it's what he needed at the time. What keeps you excited about online education?
Well, firstly, the impact we have on these students. These are kids, whether it's for their mental health reasons, so they've been suffering with mental health needs that their traditional school can't support, or whether they're neurodivergent and their school cannot support their neurodivergent needs. And those kids often are missing school. Emotionally based school avoiders, rightly or wrongly is the term. And these kids come to us having been missing school for a term, a year, 2 years sometimes, having been miserable in their education. They come to us and they're suddenly happy. And guess what? When you're happy, they attend more lessons. And what happens when you attend more and you're happy? You learn more. What also happens is you make more friends and you feel better in yourself every day. And just seeing that, and that's come from creating an online school. I made up an idea for a cool type of school, and I was hoping it would work. I was quite confident it would work, but I wasn't. You never know. And the fact of seeing these kids just go from hating school to loving school, and therefore going from being unhappy to happy, and go from learning nothing to learning lots, and that's come from online education, online schooling that I created. So that keeps me excited every day. Every single day I come into work excited because of that reason. There's loads of other things I'm excited about of online education, but that's the main one, the emotional thing. And the cherry on top of that, is once you have a child transform like that, once they're happy, guess what? Mum and dad is happy too, because you've transformed the breakfast table, you transformed the dinner table.
Totally.
And I love that when a mum says to me, "My God, breakfast used to be awful, dinner used to be awful. They were so sad at school, and now we just have the most lovely family dinner, and that's just because the kid is happy in school." So yeah, hearing that every day, honestly, every day from our families, is what excites me.
It must be so heartwarming for you, as I say, to
Oh,
hear those stories and to see that self-esteem being built in so many children, so many
yeah.
young people out there, which is amazing. Regarding the industry as a whole, what major shifts are you seeing right now?
Yeah. Look, it's a new industry in many ways. A couple of online schools that have been going for 20 years in the UK,
Yeah,
but there's some new ones like us, and people are finding their specialisms or what they do differently. I think the major shifts I'm seeing are much more in traditional education, and traditional
right.
bricks and mortar schools are seeing online, originally saw it as weird and a threat, but some of the forward thinking ones, they're seeing us as an incredible solution for two reasons. We've got deputy heads of state schools and independent schools calling us now saying, "We've got a kid for you. We have a
Yeah,
child for you." This could be an emotionally based school avoider, someone with neurodivergent needs, mental health needs. And they're not seeing us as a threat, they're seeing us as a solution. They're sending this child to us. It's amazing. And in the state schools case, they're often paying the fees. They're paying our fees. And they're happy to, because they're seeing an amazing alternative for this kid. So that's a perception change that's happened in the last 2 years. Traditional schools seeing us as an awesome option for some kids, not as a threat to kind of school, which is what they were worried about before.
yes,
The same is happening with local authorities. Local authorities are doing the same thing. We've gone from working with one local authority 2 years ago, and this is in the UK, to 50 local authorities. They are calling
wow.
us and sending us students and paying the fees. This is incredible. This is a complete mindset shift, because they've gone from what they thought they would send a child to an alternative provision for 5 to 10 weeks where they do a bit of English and maths. Nothing against
Yeah,
the APs out there, but we're a real full-time school. And the LAs are like, hang on a minute, this kid, they need a school experience. They don't want to just do some English and maths for 10 weeks. So the LAs are forward thinking, they're sending the kids to us. So this is an amazing new step that's happening to us. And the final thing, trend wise, is in addition to the schools just sending children to us full time, some forward thinking schools are thinking about hybrid. How can they
right.
install bits of online into their model so they can offer more flexibility to their students and their teachers? Teachers are getting work-life balance envy. The teachers see all their friends in other professions and get jealous. They want to work from home. They want to do
Yeah,
4-day weeks. And so we're getting more schools going, right, how can we get a piece of your online school onto our physical school so we can have online as an option 1 day a week? Stuff like that. That's a
yeah,
cool trend happening, which we're going to see more of in the next 2 years. Hybrid
amazing.
kind of developing.
I guess, so many schools were thrown into the deep end during lockdowns and things, having to
Mm.
deliver lessons online and doing it so badly. So you've created such an amazing model to show how to do it well. So that's a really good setup you've got there to help schools transition to the hybrid
Yeah.
phase if they want to do so in the future. What was the biggest obstacle in your first year or so of operation?
Well, it was the fact that we were new and we had parents saying to us, "What is like this sounds cool, but you're like 6 months old. How can we trust you with our child and money?" And
Yeah,
that's really was a fair point. We don't have that problem now. 4 years of history, which still isn't that long, but yeah. So early on, what we then lent into heavily was our sister company, Minerva Tutors, which I mentioned already,
yes,
had been going for 8 years or 6 years, 6 to 8 years, and it was in a homeschooling expert business. So we said, look, the school is new, but the school is new, but don't worry, we've run a successful homeschooling business for years. So we lent on that a lot at the start. And that was cool. And the other bits early on was like teaching challenges. We borrowed a few tutors from my tutoring business, and they were like the teachers, right? Which was cool, but it wasn't sustainable. So, fast forward now, we've got a faculty, like salaried faculty of 160, heads
wow,
of year, heads of department,
yeah,
and the sophisticated faculty structure of a big international school, for example. So, but back in the early days, we borrowed some tutors, and that was a challenge because tutors are great, but some tutors are incredible tutors, but not great teachers. Vice versa, by the way.
yeah,
Some incredible teachers aren't great one-on-one tutors. In the early days, scrapping around with tutors, because one thing the difference between tutors and teachers are tutors just want their hourly rate. They want to get their hour done and then see you later. They're
Yeah.
mercenaries, and that's okay. Teachers, when we started employing teachers on salaries, it made a real sick change to how we could run things smoothly, efficiently, and ultimately give a better product and better service to our families. We want a school experience, not a tutoring experience.
Yes, and there is a big difference,
Yeah.
as you say. What technology or innovation are you most excited about implementing, or are you seeing coming into the sector at the moment?
Well, standard response, but AI.
Yeah.
And that isn't just AI to improve teachers' workload, which it should be doing. If any teacher's not using AI to improve their workload, even if the school isn't enforcing you or encouraging it, both, the teacher should be doing this. AI to transform workload for teachers. But the
Yeah.
potential in AI for helping students learn at their own pace, personalized learning as well, for recall and quizzing, and we're exploring some really interesting, innovative ways of putting AI into our online school as a study guide, never giving you the answer, but saying maybe coaching you how to get there as a way of
Right.
catching up students. AI has just got this, we're just on the cusp really of what AI could achieve for student experience. And we want to be at the forefront of that as an online school, innovative school. And it's tough to be at the forefront of it because things are moving so quickly, but I'm incredibly
Yeah.
excited by it. We've got a full-time AI lead. We've got an AI panel. We're building some incredible tech out, a bespoke technology, and I'm excited for all those things, really.
Fantastic. It sounds like you've got some real vision for growth and for adopting and embracing these new technologies, which is really good to hear. Overall, where would you say that you see online education, say 5 years from now, as perhaps maybe more schools pop onto the scene, etc.,
Yeah.
and mainstream schools using hybrid methods? Where do you see that going?
Well, I see schools like mine continuing to grow globally, but only never at the sacrifice of the experience, like only using growth for good. And what I mean by that
Yeah.
is, when we started, like kids had one lesson a fortnight with maths, and now kids have, because we've grown, we can invest in teachers and delivery. We've now kids have 2 lessons a week of maths. Like we've used growth for good. When we started, we had four after school clubs. Because we've grown, we've invested heavily, and now we have 40 after school clubs. So
Wow.
as long as we maintain growth for good, which is our absolute mantra, the bigger we grow, the more we invest in improving the school, we'll continue to grow. That's the plan. But in terms of the wider market, for me, the future in 5 years' time, I think this is doable. Is choice. Parents need choice because it's so clear having one choice of school is not right because it doesn't suit many kids.
Absolutely.
So I want to see it, and we're not far off it, a future where the parent can have a choice: traditional bricks and mortar school, online school like mine, or a hybrid school, and where there's a mixture of online and in person, and we'll see state versions and private versions of those three. That's
Yeah.
the future. So I want to see a future of choice, and I think I can be reasonably confident that we are going to see a future of choice, despite what's coming out of the government right now. It's the way the wind is blowing. Choice.
Yeah, I agree. I think we've just got to sort of ride the next few years out, and then, like you
Yeah,
say, I think it's going to be embraced because
it's
it's got
inevitable.
to be. I think finally people are realizing, like you say, that there isn't a one size fits all style of education. So many people are looking for alternative options now, as we did ourselves. So, and the online education worked brilliantly for our son for those couple of years that he needed it. Coming on to the business side of operations right now, Hugh, how are you working to optimise your student acquisition?
We've got a very big growth team, which at the top of our growth team is our chief growth officer, and then our head of growth operations, who helps run the growth team. Probably a lot bigger than a typical school, but it's
Yeah.
16 of them in the team, and the growth team encompasses, I guess, more traditional in a business development team, old school
Right.
outreach, sales, business development, digital marketing team, offline marketing team, and each of them with their own strategies, by the way, the biz dev growth strategy, the digital strategy, and the offline strategy, all with their own team. And then, like a more traditional school, we have an admissions team,
Right.
um, who are like traditional admissions, but as a business, they're the closers, right? They get the lead, the parent, and they need to close them. But I don't think lots of schools see it like that. But anyway, we have a range of strategies across digital, offline, and partnerships. So sort of paid partnerships with various institutions and a growing word of mouth. And then constantly keeping an eye on the conversion rate of the admissions team, who are specialists in various areas. There might be an admission specialist in children with SEND or families that require EHCPs. She's in our team, and there's
Yeah.
another one that works with the elite athletes, and so the admissions team have specialisms too. But yeah, we've got a really good incredible growth team. Think about it, we're the fastest growing school in the UK, and we're now trying to adapt and plan for the next 4 years, which will involve a lot of growing up, a bit more systems, less startup-y, more scale-up-y, dare I say it, even more corporate. And I think a lot of that's down to processes. So that's the big
Yes.
theme for this quarter is processes, processes, processes. I cannot believe we're using the same process from 3 years ago where we had, 50 kids and now we've got 1,200. How can we level up those processes? And that is in the growth team as well. It's
Yeah.
across the company, but within the growth team, across sales, marketing, and admissions. How can we improve processes there? So that's what we're working on for this quarter. So we're ready for 2026 and beyond.
And which marketing channels would you say have given you the best returns so far?
Yeah, really good. I love talking about this stuff. So from the tutoring business, we were really good at Google, PPC, good SEO, but like it takes ages. And then we got there with the tutoring
Yeah.
business, and we're just really good at PPC from day one. So we brought that expertise to the school when we launched it. Great with PPC and great with SEO. It just takes longer. And for our first 400 students, I would say 75% came from Google.
Right.
Really, and that was really cool. And then we never cracked Meta until early 2024, and we finally
Okay.
cracked Meta, and it was amazing. Like me and my chief growth officer, he's worked for me for 10 years. We were like, we got Google, and we'd always been like, we want to crack Meta. I'm talking about paid ads. I'm not talking about organic.
Yeah.
And in this campaign in January 2024, him and his team with some great external help, we got cracked Meta. And funnily enough, there was this big shift. In the last 2 years, I would say 1,000 enrollments, say 600 would be digital, and half would be Meta, half would be Google. So that's been a kind of change
Right.
for us, which is really cool. And
Yeah.
then that's the digital side. And then we've consistently improved our offline marketing strategies, and we do get a lot of enrollments from events,
Okay.
exhibitions, advertising, good old fashioned advertising, and PR, like good old fashioned PR. So we have a
Yeah.
whole strategy for all those things, and they deliver really nicely. And then some of those partnerships I mentioned have been a really cool thing for me. One that I'm super proud of is because we've always been good at Google, we've learned about these other strategies. And then the partnerships one was really cool. We partner with various organizations in the sporting world,
Right.
championships for youth, ski championships for under 16s, and golf championships, and the European karting
Yeah.
championships for under 16s racers, and the same with Tennis Europe. That sort of stuff has been integral to us growing the number of elite athletes at our school. We have
Right.
nearly 200 elite young athletes at MBA because they want a school that fits around their training schedule.
Of
And we've got
course. Yeah.
amazing growth from that for that category by doing these activation, these partnerships with sports championships, which I'm really, really proud of as a kind of win in marketing.
Sounds amazing. Yeah. Great. What would you say are your biggest bottlenecks in scaling? Areas that you're not having so much success in?
We have to recruit a lot of teachers to match the people demand.
Yeah.
So, constantly having to recruit teachers, and that's so challenging. No other school has to recruit teachers at the rate we do. It's just not something schools are used to. It's not something my head of HR is used to from a previous job. It's not something my principal and vice principals are used to. None of their schools in their decade-long careers or decades-long careers have this challenge of having to recruit 20 new teachers a quarter to match
Wow.
the pupil growth. And it's tough. It's just hard. It's a unique challenge to us, but something they do incredibly well. And, first 2 years we were scrapping, waiting till the pupil numbers hit and then having to recruit. And that was a nightmare. Now it's much more strategic. The school team is aligned with the growth team and projecting pupil numbers and therefore recruiting teachers to match that need. It's not
Yeah.
always perfect, but it's so much better and it's pretty cool and we're there. But it's a unique challenge for sure to scaling, but one we embrace, one we love, because the whole point is we want to keep going. So we've got to get those systems in place for ensuring high quality teacher recruitment at scale. But it's tough.
Absolutely. And how many over the next sort of 12 months, how many teachers per quarter do you envisage needing to hire? Will that keep going up?
Yeah, so 160 teachers now will be 200 by Q1, Q2 next year, and by this time next year, maybe 230, 240. It's
Wow.
100 teachers probably in the next 12 months. God, now I've said that. Oh, that sounds awful. As a challenge, and I really hope my head of HR and my principal is not listening to this. They probably won't be. But yeah, that's the sort of numbers we're talking about here. It might be more like 80 rather than 100, but
Yeah.
whatever. It's still a challenge.
And What other growth strategies have you perhaps tried that didn't work as expected, perhaps didn't go the way you wanted them to?
Last year, I thought, wouldn't online school be incredible for the traveller gypsy community? And
Oh,
did a bit of research, and turns out there was some enthusiasm. Yes, it could be. So many of their women are girls, but
okay.
the girls are often pulled out of school really young, 11, 13, and they get homeschooled or no school. And
Oh,
there's a lot
right.
of people in the community that, although they really want to keep up with that tradition of bringing the girls out of formal education, would be quite interested in them attending some sort of online school. Many of them get homeschooled, for example, and there's
Yeah.
a lot of them in the UK, and it's a really wonderful community. We went to their annual general meeting because it was around the corner from our office,
Oh,
and we advertised there, we exhibited there, had a lot of enthusiasm, wonderful people. It was awesome. It's big AGM, for the traveller and gypsy
yeah.
community and Romany of the UK. And that was a year ago. Not a single child of that community has enrolled at our school. So I got that one wrong. But I'm always trying things like this. I'm always trying to reach out to new pockets and think where we can add value. A
Yeah.
lovely, lovely community, like I say, and really interesting to sort of have a day looking into that and meeting so many of them. And nice that there was enthusiasm for us. But yeah, I got it wrong. Not a single child from that community is enrolled at our school, or
How
teenager. So
interesting, though. Yeah,
there you
it's
go.
it's really interesting, isn't it? I wonder why that was. But like you say, it's worth trying new things and just seeing what sticks, isn't it? And
That is just
maybe in the future they'll come.
one of 10 things I would have tried that quarter, honestly.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm always trying, and always exploring ways we can add value to help children, help students. There's so many ways out there that we could be.
and I guess your approach to growth has obviously changed as well since launching. And you've figured out what's working well and what's still frustrating for you at the moment, would you say?
Like manual processes, CRMs that don't suit our needs, classic stuff like that. Switching CRM this year, and it's suddenly being really good for marketing versus before, but actually quite crap for kind of traditional CRM. Do you know what I mean? Like, really great for lead tracking, but actually not great for customer management once it's in. And like, just constantly having one group of the team like pushing me for this because it's going to be transformative. And then when I say yes, it like turns out that's going to affect another group of the team who are frustrated. So yeah, I think because of the rate at which we're growing, and we're a human business, not a tech business.
Yeah.
We are tech enabled, but we're a people business.
Yes, of course.
But we're scaling. That is such a unique challenge around processes, people and processes.
Yeah.
And so I've got friends who've got the same size business as me, and they've got 20 staff, and I've got 200
Wow.
because theirs is a tech like
Yeah.
business, and I'm jealous. They're not very profitable, but hey. But anyway, because but it doesn't matter. This is what I see. We're scaling people first business, and I guess it's that means there's always going to be the need to reevaluate processes and process communication, because the CRM
Totally
is like a one
understand.
example.
Sure. And what specific growth targets are you aiming for in the next 12 to 24 months with regards to enrolment?
So look, Project 2035, we believe we could get to 100,000 students by 2035 and be the biggest school in the world.
Wow.
And I've always joked about this one. When Elon Musk establishes the first colony on Mars, the kids at that school, the kids on the colony will be at our school. And that's the aim. We'll have three students dialing in from Mars who want to do their GCSEs and not miss out because of they've gone to Mars with their family. So that's the dream. And then before that, 2028, hopefully 5,000 students worldwide, as long as it improves the quality of our school and the experience for our parents. And we're just exploring ways, the strategies to get there on that journey at the moment, from a marketing perspective, investment perspective, etc.
Sure. And like you say, so you've already got a global presence. Whereabouts currently do you have students coming from, and what new markets or demographics are you planning to expand into?
Yeah, well, we're in 60 countries, but
Oh, wow.
85% UK.
Yeah.
So there's 15% spread across 59 countries. Quite interesting. But with bigger pockets in the UAE, where we've got established a base now. We're offering the Gulfstream time zone. We've got leadership in the UAE, and we're growing out our Middle East community. So families across the Middle East, or the GCC and the Gulf region, is our next big area of growth. But we do
Right.
have families spread across the world in various pockets. But the sort of next this year, UK continuing to grow and everything else. The UAE is our big next phase of growth. We're establishing an entity there, and we're super excited about the region. They're embracing innovation and embracing the future of learning much more than certain governments in other parts of the world. And we're excited about the future in the UAE and the wider GCC region for the next couple
Fantastic.
of years for sure.
That sounds great. And how are you planning to maintain quality while scaling rapidly?
Yeah, look, we've always done it. I mentioned before we've got a track record of this. We've scaled, but every time we scale, the thing we spend more on is teachers and the school. So whether that's increasing the number of live lessons the students have. So people think with scale you've got to cut, and it's like no, it's the opposite. People used to have a mentor session once every 2 weeks. Now every kid gets one once a week.
Right.
A-level students used to get 2 hours a week of their subject. Now, this year, they get 3 hours a week of their subject. We're just constantly investing. And there used to be 4 after school clubs. There's now 40. We used to do 1 school trip a year. We now do sort of 6 school trips a term. So we've
Wow.
got a track record of, as we scale, improving the school, improving the product. However, talking about
Yeah.
the next phase, for sure, that we've got really unique window for a few years at least where, because of the teacher retention crisis in the UK, teachers are leaving the profession in droves. Teachers, really good teachers, just quitting teaching. But guess what? Many of them are applying to work for us. So we are not going to have
Right.
a problem with quality of recruitment and retention of high quality teachers for the next few years at least. But sadly, sad as it is, in traditional education that teachers are leaving in their droves, they're applying to work for us, and that's incredibly exciting. And it means we really can withstand the scale. We can continue to improve the scale because the quality of teachers that are coming to us is awesome. That might in 5 years' time be trickier, but for the next few years at least, it's going to be great.
Sick. It sounds like your reputation is really getting out there and people are wanting to come on board and join what you're doing, which is amazing. How are you measuring and improving student retention as well?
So a lot of ways. The main one is we focus on improving the school every year. How do we make a better school for our kids? How
Yeah.
do we invest in the school to improve the school? Because ultimately that will lead to happier students and therefore better retention. And, that philosophy is really straightforward. More lessons, better teachers, better products, clubs, more trips, everything about it, like the ecosystem. If we invest more in the school, our retention improves. And that's why retention in the last few years has gone from like 25% year on year leavers, sorry, 75% retention
Right.
up to uh, 85% retention a year ago, up to 90% year on year retention
Amazing.
recently, year on year, which for a private school isn't that great for a traditional private school, but for a small business, new business, an online school, it's really good.
Yeah.
So, and that is just by focusing on improving our product constantly. It's a brilliant
It
trick.
sounds
Just make your
absolutely
make your product
amazing.
better, and you increase retention.
Yeah. um, it sounds like you've got an amazing business there, an amazing school, and it's growing rapidly, but you've got everything in place to make sure that you keep that people centered approach as you grow and you're embracing new technologies and you've got a great team. So it sounds like a fantastic future lies ahead for Minerva. Thanks ever so much, Hugh, for taking the time to come on the podcast today. It's really good to speak to you and wishing you all the best.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Brilliant. Thanks, Hugh. Bye.